So I think Jane Schoenbrunn should direct one movie a year. The amount of artistic integrity and originality is such a gift to this industry. So if that was any indication how I feel about this movie, strap in, get ready. I'm about to yap about this thing. So here we go. Welcome back to Archer Vision, presented by MovieArcher.com and the Movie Archer Podcast Network. We're here to talk about teenage death and sex at Camp Miasma, written and directed by Jane Schoenbrunn, the follow-up to what was a top 10 film of 2024 for me, I Saw the TV Glow. Quick premise for this movie: a young queer indie filmmaker is hired to reboot a dormant and problematic 1980s slasher franchise. It's listed as a slasher film, but I would argue it's very much a dark comedy with a lot of psychological elements as well. It's really a two-person show with Hannah Einbinder and Gillian Anderson. Einbinder playing the young director tasked with taking on this reboot, and Gillian Anderson playing the original final girl who she tries to track down to help shape the whole project altogether. And let me just start here. There ain't nobody making pictures like this right now. I think this project solidifies Schoenbrunn as a unique, singular talent, one of the most exciting voices in cinema right now, and I'll take it a step further, what will be one of the most defining voices for this generation of filmmakers. There are so many things to unpack here. I saw this movie a month ago and I feel like I'm still peeling back layers, but what we have here is, I think, a near perfect film. This film wears a lot of hats, but the two that really shine through for me are, one, it is a deconstruction of the slasher genre and Hollywood's role in that, and the other, it evolves into a really compelling character study about an artist who is experiencing an awakening through media that was so integral to them. We really explore the way Hollywood shamelessly recycles IP, in this case the slasher genre, and how each time they're trying to say there's a new voice or new vision, what they're really doing is trying to take advantage of that IP and trying to get as much profit as they can. I was really impressed with the world building as well. They really established what this franchise of films are, the characters in them, the way the audience has went up and down with it. It does feel very lived in, and it does feel something tangible as an audience member, like, wow, I think I actually know what these Camp Miasma films are. And then we get into the mind of the artist, who begins in this place of fun, this fixation with how they're going to give this franchise their own voice and push it in a new direction, ends up going down this deep and very complex path of discovery and how that has shaped their development into adulthood. It really involves into this incredibly unique and kind of trippy coming of age story that really deals with this embracing of new identity and sexual desire. In so many ways, this serves as this incredibly organic, natural progression from I Saw the TV Glow into this film, because what Schoenbrunn continues to explore is this idea of identity and these certain discoveries being rooted in childhood and the media we engage with as children. Of course, in I Saw the TV Glow, that's through a television show, and in this, we're seeing it through films, through a movie franchise. They also continue to play with these really powerful visual metaphors to make these points hit home. And I Saw the TV Glow, there was this concept of someone feeling like they were stuck in someone else's body. They were trapped, they were suppressed, not living their life that they're supposed to, living in a world that wasn't theirs. And Camp Miasma explores this idea of you seeing yourself from the outside of your body, like this out-of-body experience. You're seeing yourself almost from the point of view of like a specter. And I don't know if it's meant to be dissociation, like a lot of different ways I'm trying to interpret and digest that, but all I know is it's so striking. And I know Schoenbrunn is trying to put it through the lens of the trans experience, and this is why I think their artwork is so powerful, is I think you could recognize where they're coming from in their point of view, but then be able to draw parallels to so many different identities. I think an artist is at the top of their game when they're able to present something specific, bring you in on an experience that feels very individual to them, but almost challenge you and give the audience permission to, at the same time, to look inward and explore various parts of your own identity. At least that's how I see it. There's this other really subtle visual metaphor that I love. Hannah Einbinder's character is always obsessed with candy. There's a lot of scenes with her and a lot of snack food, junk food, candy, and that is really, at times in storytelling or even in the world, tied to the idea of like children love candy, and that's living a very less mature life. So the way it kind of becomes this coming of age story, it's kind of showing that you could explore these new concepts of your identity, become an adult, older in life, kind of to really bring that last point. And I Saw the TV Glow home. There is still time that just because Hannah Einbinder's character presents as an adult and is older, there was various parts of her identity that felt like it hadn't been truly awakened to adulthood, to full realization foundation yet. And on top of it all, I think the movie's very engaging. It's very funny. That meta humor is there. It's very self-aware at times. It works. It's not shameless. There's great slasher elements too. There's this POV sequence with the villain of the Camp Miasma franchise. It's really dynamic, jaw-dropping, probably one of my favorite sequences in cinema this year. Schoenbrunn knows how to shoot the shit out of a movie too, so the cinematography is great. The colors are outstanding. I thought Einbinder was great. The performance will remind you of Hacks a little bit at the beginning, but as the movie goes on, it gets much more emotional and gets to a place of real vulnerability. I think the same for Anderson. It starts off in this really mysterious, kind of seductive place, and then ultimately ends up being very, very vulnerable and a character that becomes fully realized. I also think Jack Haven is great in a very limited role in terms of screen time, but the presence and symbolism of that performer in the movie, especially when it's tied into the themes and even some of the references from cinematic history and other various pieces of storytelling that I discovered more after the film through research and talking to people. The performance ends up being very memorable, very impactful, and one that I cannot wait to digest more upon a rewatch. I don't think I've even scratched the surface of how much is in this film. I'm very high on this movie. When I came out of it, I had this gut instinct to give it 5 stars, to give it a 10, but I want to fight that until I do a rewatch. But I'm high. I'm going 9.5 out of 10 here. I said I think this is a near perfect film, and I don't know how many more movies this year, and I don't know if there really is another movie this year that can give me as memorable of a viewing experience as this one. I've had a couple this year, and I think they're going to be very hard to top. Go see this movie. I need you to. It is trippy and weird. It's a lot. It may not be for you, but I think it deserves to be seen. I need the movie to make money because I need Jane Schoenbrunn to keep making movies till I die. Like I said, I want one a year. But when you do, please come back. Tell me what you thought of this movie in the comments, and please do not forget to check out everything happening at moviearcher.com and the Movie Archer Podcast Network. We love your support. We need your support, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon.